Right, peace, you guys. I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Saleh, right, and I will be your host today on this channel, right, brought to you by Celestial Alignments. Now, this is going to be a series in which we will be discussing the seven hermetic principles. You feel what I'm saying? Or the laws of the universe, as they're also known. Okay. So the first law is the law of mentalism, and this is the law that we will be discussing. All right, so the law of mentalism is the first universal law. It states that all is mental and essentially we exist within the mind of God. This law states that everything is composed of the same material, that is, thought. Some call it energy, some call it consciousness, but today we'll just be calling it thought. So everything is composed of thoughts, or in other words, consciousness. It's very much interchangeable, thoughts, consciousness. So as we understand, right, for example, the trinity of the mind, it goes the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, and then we have the the conscious mind. You feel what I'm saying? The conscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is the body's consciousness, you feel me? You're plugged in consciously because of your physical senses. Now, the subconscious mind is the soul's consciousness. And then we also have the unconscious mind, which is God's consciousness. Now let's take a couple steps back and let's talk about how we can use this information, how we can apply this law. Now, understanding that everything is mental and the origin of all things is the mind, it's important to understand the mind. So I do have some homework for you guys. After finishing this video, I highly recommend you go and research the mind. If there's anything in this world worth understanding and having a good um, knowing about, it would be your mind. It's definitely your mind. So if you aren't aware of your mind, the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind, go and study it. You feel me? We're talking about the laws of the laws of the universe here. So we're not really gonna go into the mind. So the law of mentalism, all is mental. Now, I will still, nevertheless, give a brief explanation of what the mind is. Now, God, we have to start with God. Feel me? God's presence is felt in expansion, never restriction. You feel me? There is an infinite flow of creative energy that is continually flowing and expanding creation. You feel what I'm saying? It flows through everything. And similar to the electricity flowing through your house, it becomes confined to the instrument it's flowing through. That is, electricity, right, expresses differently in TVs versus phones. Just to give an example, right? Because of the different composition of the two, right? A TV has a different composition, but then a phone has a different composition. And electricity can't express its power the way it wants to. It can only express its power through that confinement. You feel what I'm saying? Now, that creative energy that is ever flowing, right? It's continually flowing similar to electricity, but rather than going into the appliances in your home, the creative energy flows into your mind. It's consciousness, and essentially it provides us an inflow of thoughts. Now, thoughts are continually flowing in, right? We say a stream of thought. We even say things like, I got an idea, I have an idea, I received an idea. You know what I'm saying? So it's an inflow of thought, a stream of thought. So this stream of thought is provided by the unconscious mind to the subconscious mind, which then sources the conscious mind. So very much think like a pyramid. You feel what I'm saying? But it's more like an inverted pyramid. You feel me? Because At the top, there's God, right? The source of all things, right? The top of the funnel. But then but then in between, right, we have the soul. And then at last, the tiny bit is the conscious mind. You feel what I'm saying? It's the conscious mind. Um, so when this creative energy flows through you, or rather, I should say, when it flows into the subconscious mind from the source of all things, it is refined according to your soul's composition. See what I'm saying? If your soul, for example, is more inclined towards the moon's archetype, then those thoughts flowing in will be filtered through that bias. Meaning that every single soul has an energetic signature. And these energetic signatures could be associated with the planets. And if your energetic signature is more towards like a specific planet, then when that consciousness flows into you, then it'll express outwardly. Because when consciousness flows into you, it's in a sense we can say raw material. You know what I'm saying? But then when it flows through you, it's filtered through those biases, through your biases. Now, let's differentiate thoughts and thinking because that's also important, right? So thoughts are ever flowing. They come and they go. But thinking is a continual, my bad. It's okay. Let me put it like this. When it comes to thoughts, think of the prism. You feel me? Think of the prism which breaks the lights into seven distinct colors. You see, when a thought comes into existence or it's sourced into existence, it's in a sense raw material. That is, it's a universal and it can attain any identity it needs to. But it's kind of like stem cells. You feel what I'm saying? Those cells within our bodies that can assume any other cell's function and job. You feel what I'm saying? But this thought, it then is dressed according to one of the seven energetic archetypes. You feel what I'm saying? So some thoughts are dressed to be warlike, for example. Some are loving and others are abundant. So check this out. On the material plane, right, which we find ourselves in, we are under the astral plane. Above us, right, is the astral plane. Now, as the word astral means star, understanding that the word astral means stars, we then can understand that the astral world is nothing more but the heavens above, right? The stars above. Now, I bring this up for a reason because astrologically, the planets influence our thoughts and thinking. You feel what I'm saying? Um, which reminds me, to go back to thinking, right? Thinking versus thought. So whereas thoughts are an infinite flow and they're continually coming and they're continually being sourced, thinking, it really comes after you receive the thought. You feel me? So if you choose to hold on to an idea and expand upon it, then you're thinking. But thoughts don't per se take effort. For example, you can receive a ton of thoughts from the TV, but the whole time you're watching the TV, you're probably not thinking. See what I'm saying? You're probably not thinking, but you're in a hypnotic state where you're just watching, receiving thoughts. You feel me? Now that you understand the difference, back to what I was saying. So the planets are multidimensional, meaning they exist and influence us from many different dimensions. Um, for this discussion, let's talk about the mental plane. They exist within the mental plane as distinct thought elements. You feel what I'm saying? And we are receiving our thoughts from the planets. And then through thinking, through our own thinking, we take the energy and make it something of our own. You feel me? And if this sounds far-fetched, or if you don't get what I'm saying, let me give another example. Let's think about the sun, for example. the sun's light is taken by the planets, right? By Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, the Earth. They all take the sun's light, they absorb it, and then they refine it, and then they send it back into the solar system as their own radiance, as their own energy, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Feel me? So essentially, the first step to understanding how to apply this law, of course, is to understand the mind, the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. Go and research and learn as much about this trinity as you can, right? And then the second thing, I really genuinely feel from my experience and also from my occult awareness that it's important for us to, have a comprehension of our astrological composition. That's definitely the second step. Um, because it essentially reveals how we are using um the energies from the planets. You feel me? And so in the Hermetic tradition, for example, the birth chart is referred to as the mapping of the soul, or in other words, the subconscious mind. Right? So in the Hermetic tradition of knowledge and wisdom, they teach that your birth chart is a mapping of your soul and the content within your soul in the sense of its different awarenesses and different consciousnesses. Meaning that, we have different awareness according to different things. And so the Hermetic tradition, the Hermetic knowledge, feel me, the Hermetic tradition of information, I forgot what I said earlier, but that they teach, you feel me, that your birth chart reveals to you the makeup of your soul's energetic signature. So I would most definitely say that's the second important thing to understand, because the birth chart, it reveals to you essentially the compartments of your subconscious mind. Now, so the mind, right? Let's talk about what the mind is, because I still haven't given that brief explanation. The mind essentially is a director of energies. Feel me? Its job is to direct consciousness. So consciousness is continuously flowing through your mind, feel me? And then your job is to redirect it. You feel what I'm saying? It's like God, God consciousness flows through everything. Okay, so it's like God consciousness flows through everything. I'm trying to paint the image of a funnel, or of like the concept of mediumship, knowing that is everything, or it's coming to me now. That is everything is a medium for one thing. Feel me? Everything is connected, but everything is a medium for one thing. A good example is this: your soul impresses your astral body. You feel me? Or like or like your mind, we will say. It's like in so many ways, your mind it does have its own form and shape, if that makes sense, but it exists within the astral plane, right? It's also known as your astral body or your light body, mind, light body, astral body, very much interchangeable. But then the soul, it impresses your astral body, and your soul impresses your astral body to induce certain thought patterns and, actions, I guess, within the astral body. And then your astral body goes on to influence your physical body. I hope you get the image that I'm trying to paint. But it's like God is influencing all of these things. But it's like there's God, and there's like the angels, and there's like I'm pretty sure and the beings that like the spiritual beings that are in between the angels, and there's like the astral plane, and then there's like the material plane. But all of these planes are being influenced. You feel what I'm saying? It's they're all being influenced. Very mediumistic. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, but anyways, that's the job of the mind, to direct energy, to direct information, to direct consciousness. It's like the mind's power is not per se in its voltage ability, or like its ability to pack a punch. Like the mind, it's very from a perspective of strength, quote unquote, it's weak. It's small. You feel me? But from a perspective of having ability to direct different energies, it's potent. It's powerful. Um, I guess like a good way to put it, for example, is think about it this way. An electrician, right? They go and they're working with electricity, and it's just this tiny, this individual who has the ability to move and influence huge sums of energy, right? That's the mind. The mind, even though in of itself is minute, small, I guess, it has great power to influence energies. Another good example is to think about, and that's a job as well. That's why it exists, to influence energies and consciousness. Another way of thinking about it is like a tiny person who's in a, like those huge cars that they use to like break, not break things, but build things. You feel what I'm saying? Like those huge cars. That's another example um of the mind, right? So essentially, it is a tool for directing consciousness. And we got to keep in mind that consciousness is the composition of reality. Everything is made up of thoughts, consciousness, or whatever you want to call it. Thus, right, to apply this law, you must start directing your consciousness and you must learn how to direct your consciousness. Now, astrology, alchemy, and esoteric psychology are the sciences I personally use to make this law applicable and practical. You feel what I'm saying? So go ahead and reach out to me to tap in, right? Because I do teach this information. So of course, I always offer a free discovery call for anyone interested in discovering what celestial alignments can offer them. You feel me? So I definitely do look forward to hearing from you guys and tapping in and investing in yourself. But I do also want to thank you for watching this video because that is another way of investing in yourself. You've expanded a little bit you've expanded your consciousness and awareness a little bit more. And I congratulate you for that. That's what's up. You feel me? Now, if you guys want to support this channel and the movement, because we are on a movement to change the world, essentially this is how it's gonna go down. We're gonna change the world for the better, or we're gonna die trying. See what I'm saying? So if you want to support us, our Cash App, I'll put the Cash App like right here or somewhere. You feel what I'm saying? And definitely definitely send a donation. You feel me? It doesn't matter how much, how big, how little. Definitely send a donation and support the channel. You feel what I'm saying? We definitely appreciate you. And if you appreciate what we're doing, then help us out. Support. You feel what I'm saying? Um, all right, all right, all right. So I would say that pretty much concludes it. Peace. Definitely share the wisdom. Definitely share the wealth, if what I'm saying, with others, because knowledge and information is wealth. Feel me? All right, peace. Thank you, and feel free to subscribe if you want to. All right, peace.